Hey guys, welcome back to episode ocho of the podcast. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. This is your host, ThebombdotTom, and welcome to the Usher with ThebombdotTom. I'm getting there with that intro. There's only so much you can do with saying ThebombdotTom over and over again. But how you guys doing? Well, welcome back. I've been out of work for a week. I didn't post a podcast last week because I was sick with a sinus infection. Just came up abruptly. It was like the Monday before I started school. So of course, I go to school with this terrible cold. First day of college. And it was a pretty rough week. Didn't really want to be there because I had a tissue and a cough drop in every hand. But now I'm back. I'm feeling better. I didn't want to post a podcast feeling like shit because, one, that would have sounded terrible, and two, it probably would have been a shorter one, and I just didn't want to shit out an episode. So, quality over quantity is my game. It's the name of the game, folks. But I'm back now. Hooray. But yeah, besides having a cold, it's been a week since I started school. Went to a orientation that last Saturday. Met some people. Got a nice necklace. The orientation was like Hawaiian themed, so when I walked in, they were playing like Lilo and Stitch music. They gave me a nice bottle of water, Hawaiian water, if you will. But it was fun, I guess. Met a guy. He had a Cubs jersey on, and immediately I was drawn to him because I despise them. They stole a World Series from me back in 2016. They didn't steal it from me because I didn't play for the team, but that was like the first year that I was really into watching Indians games, like every day. I'd follow it, and like we went to the World Series. Some stupid shit happened. Our pitcher was like fucking around with a drone, and we lost after a rain delay in Game 7. So I met him. We were walking around. He's in my tour. We were like checking out the cafeteria or something, and I'm like, hey man, from Chicago. He's wearing like an Anthony Rizzo jersey, and his friends kind of like snickered at him because they knew, and I knew, that he wasn't from Chicago. So one of them bust his balls a bit, and he's like, yeah, no, I just like the team. And yeah, we became friends, I think, kinda. We'll see how that goes, I guess. Just goes to show that even through hatred of one person's baseball team, you can find some cool people. And we kept running into each other. Like, he worked at the store that I go to. I was with my dad, and it was the same day, actually, of orientation, and we went out to go get some supplies for dinner, and he was our cashier. I didn't recognize him because he wasn't in his stupid Cubs jersey. And he was like, hey, yeah, you're Tom, right? And I'm like, yep, I don't know who you are. And then he said, my name was so-and-so. Remember me? I wore that shitty jersey. I'm like, oh, yeah, you're that guy. So, yeah, we're we're tight now. I'm taking English, math, the necessities, and then a psychology class and a photography class, which I'm pretty excited about because I've always wanted to learn how to frame a picture it's actually more like, I know it's a photography class and I'm going to be taking photos, but I wanted to take the class because pretty soon I want to release some live action stuff for you guys. I've been writing some stuff down, some ideas, and now that I know people in school, I have been asking around, like, hey, do you want to get together and make dumb videos with me? So, yeah, those should be coming soon. Don't get too hyped up just yet, because that'll take a long process. I have no idea what I'm gonna be doing. Like I'm with like editing and stuff. Those probably take way more than editing a podcast or a video or a music video, if you will. But yeah, hopefully you'll stay tuned and you'll see all that shit drop pretty soon. It'll be a good time. You know what I've kind of learned from college so far? It's just like high school. Maybe because I'm at a community college this year, but the scene is just like I remember in high school. You got your like groups of people, right? That you can just tell by their personality and what kind of clothes they wear and how they establish themselves. You know what kind of category of high school kid they're associated with. So that's kind of neat, I guess. Uh, that's what I'm learning in this adult world, that after high school, people are always like, hey, college and adult life is different, but it doesn't seem that way. Everybody kind of is just who they are in high school, but are legal. They can buy like cigars and shit. I mean, like, it's not as what's the word? Like immature as high school. Like, you don't have people like doing stupid shit and trying to make a scene because that's how you get attention in high school. It's like cliques and friends and all that are still there, but it's more of a mature high school setting, if you will. It's just my perception of what I've seen so far among students. The thing that is different about high school with like professors is that literally every professor is different so far that I've known. Only one professor goes by professor, and I think that's funny because she's my English teacher, and I think she's like a commission writer too. She told us about that, and she has a bit of an ego to her. I've never met a Republican author before. I didn't think that was a thing until now. Uh, but like everyone else goes by like their first name or they have a nickname. Like my photography teacher goes by like Kip or something. By the way, looks just like Sam Elliott. And even talks like him. He has the mustache, the hair, everything. Like, picture Sam Elliott teaching a class about pictures and how to like frame and shit. That was it for 4 hours. I really wanted to like drop that class. I have it on like Tuesday nights. It's like a 4 hour class from 5 to 9, and Tuesday was like the worst day of my cold because that was when I was really like involved with infection. Like Monday, it was more of like, oh shit, I can feel it, having a little sniffles, a little cough, and then Tuesday, bam, hit me like a fire truck. And I'm sitting in his class, and I'm like, having Sam Elliott as my teacher is pretty cool on paper, but I don't know if I can stand that for 4 hours a whole semester. But that was just the sickness talking. I just want to get the fuck out of there. Also, like, the rule is that I can't, like, miss the first class because they'll drop you if you don't go. So I'm like, fuck, I'm sick this whole week and I have to go to every class, including the 4 hour class where I can rather be home, like, relaxing and getting better. And so I go, and I'm like, he asked me a question, and I tried answering it, and he's like, in his Sam Elliott voice, can you talk a little louder? Like, trying to jab at me for mumbling. I do mumble, but it was more because, like, I couldn't speak correctly without killing my throat. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm sorry. I just have a little cold going on. Bear with me. And then he looks at me, and he's like, well, why did you come to class then if you have a cold? And the class snickers, and I'm like, because you would have dropped me. Like, you already dropped somebody today because they didn't come, so I thought that doing this would be the right thing to do. Like, what if I didn't show up? Would you have dropped me? Probably. So that was kind of annoying. And then when I signed up for the class, the lady was like, if you want to take photography, you don't need a camera. They give you those. You just need like a $15 fee. So I thought I was going into a class where it was all amateurs and people that aren't really savvy with cameras. And then I walk in and they're like level 5 students of photography. Like, he was teaching a class that had like 5 subclasses at once. Like, I'm in like the 101 class and he has like up to 142. So that was weird. I was the only one that didn't have a camera, and I'm like, okay, well, that's cool. And he's like, if you showed up today without a camera, why would you take a class that you need a camera to work with if you don't have one? And I'm like, because people told me I didn't need one. And he's all like, if you want to rent one from the library, you can, but every week you have to like check it back out. So if I had a camera for a week and I didn't return it, it's not mine technically. So that was confusing. I don't want to I don't want to rent a camera because that would be really dumb. Like, why rent a camera when you're supposed to really understand your camera? Like, my dad was telling me, like, you need to kind of form a bond with a camera because then you produce the better content with it. So just re-renting a camera is not really doing that. So I took care of it. I ordered a Canon. I think it's a T series. I don't know. I'm not very savvy with cameras, but eventually I'll get to know them more. But it comes tomorrow, of course, the day of the class. And I'm supposed to have like a assignment done. I'm supposed to take pictures of like architect stuff. And by the way, I can't even take pictures of people the first class. Like, excuse me. It's all like black and white photos. There could be no people in it. It's all like plants and houses and shit, which is fine, but I had a bunch of ideas that I wanted to use with people. Because, like, personally, I don't find pictures of plants very interesting. I don't understand why people like they look nice, I guess, and you want to capture that and remember that flower you saw 15 years ago, but there's so much other stuff you can do with a camera and come up with some really cool ideas and shots other than taking a picture of a cactus, you know? That's just me, though. A lot of these kids were, like, photoshopping pictures with cactuses in them. I'm like, okay, that's cool. I wanted to do, like, a picture of a porta potty with a drawing of Nick Cage on it. And I'm like, that's what I want to do, Dad. And he's like, you probably shouldn't do that because then your teacher would get mad at you. And I'm like, why would he get mad at me? I thought the whole point of art is, you know, your own style and vision and shit. So I don't know, we'll see. I'll get it tomorrow and I'll play around with it and maybe I'll put something out that's just a test run. Won't be anything great, but just my first experience with it, I guess. My psych teacher is like Gordon Ramsay too. He's probably my favorite teacher right now. My math teacher is okay. He's just kind of a Chad. Like, he was a baseball player or something, and he broke his wrist, and so he turned to math. I don't know. He's okay. He's whatever. He says like swear words a lot. I'll be in class, and he'll like overly use like shit or something, and so I'll tally mark it. I think I got to like 30 tallies last lecture. But my psych teacher is just like Gordon Ramsay. He's like an English guy from the UK. He was a coach in England or something. He was a football coach in England, and for some reason he was like, I want to know more about mental illness and sports players, and then he picked up a book, and now he's a doctor. The way he described that made it sound so easy to become a doctor, and it's totally not. So it made me feel dumb, because I want to do like movies and make dumb skits, and this guy literally was a football coach and picked up a book, and now he has a PhD. It's crazy. He even has his own like he has his own like website he created by himself. Like most teachers and professors at the school have like follow the school's like homework website. This dude's like, nah, I'm about to make my own, and you're gonna do it on there. So it's like if Tony Stark was a football coach and then was like, I'm bored with this. I'm bored with winning. Let's go teach kids in a stupid little town. Yeah. But that's enough about college right now. I'll get you updated on that. It's been okay. I've had a lot more fun getting out of the house and checking out the scene. There's a lot of shit to do. They have like concerts. They're doing a lot of film festivals. So maybe one episode I'll do a whole review series about what I saw at these film festivals. Because I'm definitely gonna go to those. And yeah, I'll let you guys know. What else? What should I mention today? I have a few things I want to talk about, but first, I think it's time to get in some news. So let's play that amazing track. This is the news. News about movies. News brought to you. Okay, so this wasn't planned. I had a kind of a schedule I wanted to talk about, but this was just kind of thrown in. There was a trailer that released maybe an hour and a half ago for the Star Wars Rise of Skywalker movie. Disney D23, is that what it's called? That's going on right now, so they're doing a bunch of shit with that. Apparently they released this trailer / first look thing. I wouldn't really call it a trailer. There's a few clips in it that kind of shows you what it's about, but it's more kind of about the whole franchise. It's like a wrap-up video, you know? It reminded me of the Avengers trailer, where it had a bunch of these like clips from the previous movies, and then it ends with a bunch of new shit. I doubt it's gonna be as good as Endgame, but you know, whatever, it could be. I doubt it. I'm really like, it's sad that I have to keep talking about Star Wars, because at this point I don't really care. I was just talking to my mom the other day, and she watched all the episodes of the show, my podcast, and then she like took notes, and she mentioned something I said about not liking Star Wars. I just want to make this clear. I'm such a fan of Star Wars that now that Disney owns it, and it's nothing like what has been told. Like, okay, the George Lucas shit that he did, where he like made special effects changes and the prequels, I can deal with that. You know, it's not what I would do personally, but it's still the man's vision. Like, I can respect that a bit, because it's not some corporate like hangout meeting where they're trying to flip shit at each other. It's like, even though it's not what I prefer, it's still George Lucas, so there's something there I can appreciate with those movies and the changes he did. With Star Wars now, it's like there's none of that singular vision. It's just kind of like running a relay race, if you will. Take it like the first movie in the new trilogy. J.J. Abrams ran like 50 meters or something, and he passed the torch to Rian Johnson, and then like Rian Johnson started running, and then he just like hopped off the track and started running to like a subway or something. And so then J.J. Abrams had to go run back towards where Ryan's fucking around, and then he had to take that and then get back on track and then run to the finish line. So that's my issue. It's like there's so much collaboration. I don't think Star Wars should be a collaboration process. It was one guy's idea. Originally, it was one movie. Did it need to be this whole thing? Oh, sorry. Um, even the original shit. I have my dad had the original trilogy before it was, painted over with Lucas's special effects crap on Laserdisc, and my dad gave it to me when my parents split, and then I don't remember the series of events, but my mom was like selling shit, and for some reason, the Laserdisc thing was a part of the menu items that she was selling, like the original copy of the Star Wars trilogy on Laserdisc, which is even more rare because like nobody can find a fucking Laserdisc player anywhere. And she sold it for like $100. And I remember she pocketed the money. The guy who picked it up uh, probably had a huge laugh because he just got a really hidden gem from this woman that has no idea what she's doing. I love you, Mom, but the more I think about that, that was pretty dumb. So, he could probably sell that for a couple $1,000s. I don't even know what I'm talking about at this point. I forgot what I was trying to prove a point with. Collaboration, yeah, it's Star Wars shouldn't be like that. Kathleen Kennedy, stop. Stop making these Star Wars movies. I'm tired of them. I was pretty happy when Force Awakens came out. I was pretty okay with the idea of having Rogue One. I surprisingly liked Rogue One when it came out, but I think that was still during a time where like people were excited about Star Wars. I haven't seen it since it came out. I think it was like 2016 or something. So I'm pretty sure if I go back and watch it, it's not as great as I first saw it. People are always like the Darth Vader version. The Darth Vader scene in that movie. I had Derek on that one episode, and he was talking about it, and it's cool. It's just like, I've seen it. Even in that fucking trailer I saw. I'll get into the trailer right now. If you haven't watched it, I guess spoilers. I'm gonna talk about my interpretation of what it's about. Um, so the trailer starts with like all of the movies that are coming up to this point, right? You got like New Hope, like everything's in there. Everything's fucking in there, and they're like, okay, well, you like these movies, and it's the end to our saga. So just off the bat, I'm like, oh, okay. So it's gonna be kind of suspicious when your movie you're trying to promote is showing the other movies to help you get excited, you know. But like I exclude Endgame because it felt more genuine in that trailer. Like it's been leading up to that point. With Star Wars, it's just kind of all over the place. Like I don't know where the fuck it was going. There was no like there was no Endgame, but I feel like it's gonna be like Endgame. The whole thing just like screamed Endgame, and that's kind of what all of these Disney movies are trying to copy now is Endgame. That's my prediction. In the next 5 years, every movie is gonna be like Endgame. But the trailer, you play it, and then like a minute into the trailer, it starts playing new shit, and you got Rey, Poe Dameron, Finn. I think Rose is there. I don't know. They're on like a planet, like a desert planet, and they look over like a oh, fuck. Sorry. I'm still kind of sick, but I can talk more. Excuse me. They're on like a desert planet, right? It might be Jakku, it might be Tatooine, Fuck, what's it called? Endor. My dad had a theory that after the whereabouts of Return of the Jedi, that second Death Star being so close to Endor, when it blew up, it kind of like demolished parts of that planet. A bunch of fire just like made it to a huge desert. But like I don't know, it could be anything. But there's this this village of people. Don't know where that's going. Uh, C3PO is in the trailer for a minute, and he has like really flat. He has like red, glowy eyes, like as red as the red arm thing that he's had for the past two movies. I don't know what that's all about, but some are like speculating that he's a Sith Lord after all, and it's Darth C3PO or Darth 3PO. I doubt it. I don't even know. Like I can imagine what that's all about. It probably won't be anything. Just be like, oh, I got new eyes, Master Ray. That's my 3PO impression. And then there's a scene where Rey and Kylo are like fighting on. It looks like some of the wreckage of that second Death Star from Jedi, but like the whole trailer like flips on its end when it's the last shot of the trailer, and this is kind of a spoiler of the trailer. It might have like ruined the movie actually. I don't know how they're gonna like do that. It might be a Avengers type thing where it's just a false image, but so spoiler, the last frame of the trailer, it has Rey in a Sith cloak, and she has a Darth Maul-esque lightsaber. And I say esque because it's the first time we've seen a lightsaber that like folds. I don't know what the fuck that how that's possible. I mean, whatever, at this point anything can be possible. But it confirms maybe possibly that this is going to be like the Revenge of the Sith to the sequel trilogy where Rey becomes part of the dark side. I don't know. So I started thinking about it, and it made sense maybe. This is kind of my theory about what's going to happen. There's two things I think are going to happen. Well, three. The first one is that frame's bullshit. It's just there to get people talking and more interested in the movie. The second theory is that that scene where Rey's in a cloak and she has the Sith saber, that's just like a dream sequence or something. I don't know. Maybe she's a clone. She has to fight herself. I don't know what the fuck. This is what I really think it is, the number three. So the movie's called The Rise of Skywalker, right? And besides Leia being the only Skywalker, there's Kylo, right? And with the information we got from the trailer, where Rey is like a Sith, I think this is going to be a movie where it's going to have the flip-flop effect, where Kylo is gonna return into the light, and Rey is gonna like pull an Anakin Skywalker and become the bad guy. Because we gotta like set up that other sequel trilogy where now Rey's the evil one. So maybe Rey is Palpatine's relative in some way. Maybe, I don't know. That could be the possibility. Or they're just fucking with us. Because I've kind of, like, that's kind of the vibe they were throwing down in 8. Like, if that movie is going to foreshadow, it's foreshadowing that Kylo and Rey are either going to, like, form and become, like, a gray Jedi, or, like, they're going to swap or something. And like Palpatine's gonna be there for some reason, because That's a character I know, and I like Palpatine. Yay, Palpatine! Gotta get my ticket for Palpatine. I like when he says, more. What's he say? It's when he kills Sam. He's like, uh, he doesn't say anything. He just kind of laughs, but he's like, like He-Man. He's like, I have the power. Something like that. But yeah, I can't believe that I'm talking about episode 9 of a trilogy that has been dead since 1983. It's sad, man. Like, of course I'm gonna see it because I'm not gonna be the only dope that doesn't go see this movie and then have no idea what I'm talking about. That's sad too. That's a really sad point. Like, I could wait to see it, but like Disney knows that I'm gonna see it. He knows that everyone's gonna see it. Disney's a he apparently. The mouse wants me to go see it, and he knows that I will, because we're all just fucking sheep. They're gonna shout out the Star Wars movie that you've already seen. It's a little different, you know. Ooh, it's the first female Sith Lord or whatever. That's kind of different. Eat this. Give me your fucking money. And we'll come back with the Ryan Johnson trilogy movies. All Ryan Johnson, because that's what I want to see next. And I probably will see them. I don't know, probably not. It feels like, okay, with Disney and Star Wars, I feel like I'm in a bad, like an abusive relationship. It's like, I know they're hurting me, but there's still a part of me where it's like, I can fix them. And I want them to do good, but we all know it's not that way. Like, just keep punching me. Like, take this fucking pork and they, like, pah! You know what I'm saying? But yeah, enough about fucking Star Wars. I'm done with that. That was all I want to talk about with the news segment, so. La-di-da. Last Skywalker, or whatever it's called, Rise of Skywalker, they all sound the same. Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Rise of Skywalker. They don't sound cool. Attack of the Clones. Okay. Alright, whatever. We'll get into another topic I wanted to discuss. I didn't see The Lighthouse because I found out that they're going to be playing it in theaters on October, so we'll have to wait. I'm really excited about that movie. Adam from Your Movie Sucks really likes that movie. He said on Sardonicast last week that that's might be his favorite movie of the decade. So coming from Adam, like, I really respect his opinion, so I'm going to check it out. Although he didn't like Eraserhead that much, like he said that he liked it, but he gave it a 7, which is still a positive review for him. Or wait, yeah, it was him. Or no, wait, yeah, it was him. I'm getting my episodes mixed up because usually that show is just Ralph and Adam arguing while the nice boy Alex just kind of chimes in once in a while. But the topic right now I want to discuss. 2 weeks ago, when I ended the podcast, I referenced the Invader Zim movie special thing on Netflix was coming out, and it did. And I watched it about a week ago. I think I have enough memory to discuss it a little bit. Don't want to get into it, like, too deep. I just want to go over it and talk about how I feel. So, if you haven't seen the special, or if you care, go ahead and jump on your Netflix account and look for Invader Zim, Enter the Florpus, and come back and listen to this, because it's only like an hour and 15 minutes, so it shouldn't take you too long. But yeah, so Invader Zim came out. It's been like 20 years or something since we've seen them. No, has it been 20 years? Something like that. Like Rocco and him have been out for a while. and they address that in this new show. Uh, Quickly, I just want to mention I was more of a fan of Rocco growing up than Zim. I like Zim a lot, but like if there were two shows on, I'd pick Rocco. And surprisingly, it's the opposite for these two specials. I liked the Zim special more than I liked the Rocco special. Uh, I think because um, the Zim, like I know enough about Invader Zim to understand kind of what that show's about and see where like a movie would go, and I feel like this movie made like it kind of captured the spirit of that TV show a little bit more than Rocco. I think Rocco had a harder execution because of what that show is about and how it would move towards like this modern life. With Zim, it doesn't have that much of a complicated structure, so just jumping into time could still capture whatever the fuck that show was. It's a pretty goofy like show. It's like a gothic Ren and Stimpy. I always reference everything to Ren and Stimpy, but yeah, it's like it's a Hot Topics girl's dream. You know, if you want a Hot Topic and see those black backpacks, where you got like dip or dib on a T-shirt or something. But I'll just get into kind of a synopsis and go over what I thought about it. Like I said, it kind of did the whole recapturing thing a lot better because uh, it was a better way to execute the time gap. So it starts kind of this anime type opening, which is really cool and fun. I wish more of the show kind of had that style, not like just animation, but it was really surreal, and I like that. There was a lot of surrealism. Like there's a scene where they go through a wormhole, and like there's all these different universes, and there's like a puppet universe, and like there's cardboard cutouts, and what else? A bunch of shit. It reminded me of like Spider-Verse a lot. So it's more surreal, which I really liked. But they opened it and they're like, "Where the fuck have you been?" And if you haven't seen the ending to Zim back when it ended the show, Zim for some reason leaves, and Dib, the main character, he's like if you haven't seen the show, Dib is like a ghost hunter, alien hunter thing. He's kind of like the Mr. Crocker character that wants to expose the fairies, but in this case, it's a alien, and he's been like infatuated with trying to find Zim for all this time, and so they open up after the pretty cool anime sequence, and then it's like his little sister and his dad, which by the way, I didn't know the dad was played by Mr. Lawrence from SpongeBob. He plays Plankton. But yeah, they're like so Dib's in his room again. You should like get him out of there because the show's audience is back, and we need to like show what he's been up to. And she's like, okay, I guess I'll go get him. And then they go up there, and the big reveal is like Dib is a fat, like gross person. He's like stuck to his chair and shit, and that was really funny. Just the way he drew him, or the animators drew him. He had like earwax coming out of his ears, and his iconic like bangs on his hair or whatever. They're like it's like super long, but it's just that bang. And he's all fat, and he's stuck to his chair, and like his whole. It reminded me of my room, like it's all trashed and shit. So that was really nice to see. And then like if we find out that Zim has never really left that town. He's just been hiding in a toilet for like 15 plus years, and that was really funny. It was simple, but like I like that little humor. Like, you thought that Zim was gone doing other things. Nah, he's just been sitting in a toilet for a decade. So that's cool. And then the movie just goes from there, and like it's Zim calls it his phase 2, which reminded me of the Marvel stuff. Maybe they're poking jab at that, and he's like, this is what I'm gonna do. Phase 2, I'm gonna loiter and throw trash on the ground, like this juvenile shit, and Dib can't like stop him because he's on a wheelchair practically. He can't like get up, and he's doing all this shit. And then Zim introduces this like moose character that at first seems just like a person or a character that's just there for dumb. It was like a Zim character that you would see in a cartoon, but it becomes like the MacGuffin of the movie. But all this shit happens, Zim, he wants to, what's it called? Please his leaders. I forgot what they're called, the bigs or the tall ones or something. And we learn that Zim has given up on trying to take over the world, and Dib's like, well, you can help me. I forget what that fucking whole thing was about. Somehow they like team up for something. Like Dib's dad is promoting this new thing that he made, like this bracelet thing. That like the whole gimmick is like hands across the world. Very reminded me of that Jordan Peele movie Us. So I'm like, okay, that's kind of meta, I guess. I don't know if that was on purpose, but I've seen that somewhere. And then it turns out that Zim betrays him. Go figure. That was part of his phase 2. And then he like fucks up the bracelets to make them like jump, like time warp into the position that his leaders are going, and just like annihilating planets and shit. And by doing that, like this portal opens up that will like destroy the world. And that's kind of the plot of the movie, like trying to stop Zim, and he kidnaps their dad, and they have to do all of that. I won't like spoil all of it. I just wanted to kind of give you what was going on with that. It was fun. It was a fun little watch. Good time waster for an hour and a half. I kept smiling through the whole episode, or the special, because it was like, yeah, I remember this. Like, I'm glad I'm back in this little piece of cartoon history. It's not the greatest cartoon like special. It's way better than Rocco, but it served its purpose. And if it doesn't have a reboot, or I'm happy with it, it kind of it put the story to the end, kind of like Rocco. But Rocco seemed like it was trying to like push a reboot. That was kind of more. It was kind of more of that agenda, where they want to be like, hey, and now we're in the modern life, and that's what the show is called, Rocco's Modern Life, and we can talk about Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. We can do all that. While Zim's just like, yeah, we got the story we want to tell, and after we tell it, we'll just fucking leave. So I respect that. I don't know the name of the creator. He's also like a comic book guy. Very like European. I don't know his very ethnic name. He's from like some sort of other country. But I am a fan of your work, even though I don't know your name. But yeah, that is really much I want to talk about that show. Not really much to talk about without like going by scene. I don't want to do that because it's not that important. But yeah, go check it out if you want. There's some funny gags, some pretty good animation, although there was some scenes where I'm like, this is obviously just like poor Flash. They use that 3D, 2D effect that like shows like Futurama does, and the show did in the past. It's a better way of using that technology because like we're so advanced in CGI. But I just wish that it was just regular 2D because whenever there's a chance to watch a good 2D animated show, uh, I'm all for it because I'm tired of seeing realistic CGI and like computer graphics and cartoons. I don't mind them because some of my favorite shows are like computer graph. Like Jimmy Neutron is a good show, but that's like kind of a time capsule in that period because it's like this was the new thing, but now it's all just the same shit. So I want to go back to 2D animation. But yeah, watch it if you want. I'm not gonna rate it. I'll just give it like a thumbs up. It's cool. If you like gothic shit and toilet humor, it's up your alley. So there you go. Enter the floor piss. Yeah. The big topic, I guess, today we'll kind of discuss is a TV show I watched this week. I binged watched it for like 8 hours, I think. It's like an 8 episode series so far. It's Amazon Prime original, and it's called The Boys. The Boys. It has my dude, what's his name? I always forget his name. Carl Urban. He's from like the Star Trek reboot series. He's in Thor. Great actor. An old Elizabeth Shue is in it, and then other actors I don't know. But if you haven't seen the show, I'm gonna talk about it. My opinions. It's about a superhero. It's a superhero show, basically. It's about like. It's like one big show. Like it's like a Black Mirror episode, but turned into a TV show. It kind of has that social commentary where it's like. It's about superheroes, but it's more about the marketing and branding of them. And we learn that these heroes aren't really heroes after all. They're using their powers for the wrong reasons, and shit happens that regular people are like, "Hey, like, you can't do that. I'm gonna get revenge on you," and that's pretty much the plot. Like some guy, he has a girlfriend. Like the first sequence in the show, it's like we find out that the the Flash-esque character like runs so fast that like he just like cuts this girlfriend right in half, and like there's blood everywhere. Very gory show. If you've wanted to see a superhero show kind of do the Deadpool thing, in all honesty, I think it's more of a mature content thing than Deadpool. Deadpool has more of a childish approach to it. While this show has some childish shit in it, it's definitely dealing with more of a it's trying to be the most grounded to what's going on right now with like Marvel and DC, with like these companies trying to like market their heroes and put them everywhere, like even the fucking military. There's a whole plot line with that. But they have some more dark shit in it that I don't think Deadpool even do. There's this whole like sequence where they go to a underground superhero orgy place, and you see like all these superheroes like just like going at it. I wouldn't watch the show with your parents if they're not open to that kind of shit. Ask them if you like Deadpool first, and if they do, maybe. But that's still kind of pushing it if they're not as open as my dad or whatever. Yeah. But I thought that was funny. Like, I saw an Ant-Man character, like, dive into some girl's womb. And that was really funny. Shit like that. But the plot pretty much is that guy whose girlfriend gets, like, totally I can't talk today. Like just shattered into pieces. He's like, well, fuck that. Like, I'm not just gonna take your bullshit apology, which you don't like even have sympathy for or empathy, because you just said that because you wanted to get more followers on your Instagram and make more money and shit. So this dude, Carl Urban, walks in and is like, "Hey man, do you wanna like kill some of these superheroes?" He's like, "Okay, I guess. We already killed this invisible guy, so why not?" And that's the show. The guys, the boys are actually the boys who want to destroy this team. I think they're called the Seven. Instead of Marvel and DC, they're called Bot. If you like the movie RoboCop, it kind of has that vibe to it too. A lot of satire and shit that would make sense in a world like this if there was actual superheroes. They'd be kind of marketed and like thrown around like NBA players or athletes. There's a lot of sequences like just like RoboCop where they take breaks to show like trailers, like fake trailers and commercials in that world that have to do with what's going on with Vought and shit. So that was a neat little touch. It kind of made the world building a lot more genuine. There's a Captain Marvel-esque character. I don't know if they're trying to be more like DC or Marvel. They're both kind of like meshed into one. It's more of a DC like parody. They have like Homelander is their Superman character, and he's like kind of the main antagonist of the movie or the show. And you have like your Wonder Woman character, and you have like your um, Aquaman character, and then your Batman character, and then you have like this Captain Marvel-esque character that comes in and she joins. I'm not really. I like Batman. He's like my favorite superhero, other than like Spider-Man. But I know more about Marvel than I do DC, so I don't know if there is kind of a Captain Marvel character in the DC universe. So I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I got from her character named Starlight, I think. And she's like her own kind of individual. She has been like wanting to be a part of this team since she was younger. She auditioned one day, she got the part, and she learns out that corporate superheroes are not like hometown Iowa girls that use cop radars to fight crime. You know, there's this whole segment with their Aquaman character where it explores kind of the what's it called, the shit I'm trying to, not responsibilities but like the sacrifices of being a celebrity. In this case, like when she joins, Starlight joins, she tells the Deep, that's the Aquaman character, that when she was a kid, she was like really into him and she had like a crush on him, and they're like kind of conversing, and I'm like, oh fuck, they're gonna do this whole like love thing where they're like a couple for the rest of the season. So I was worried, and then immediately the camera like pans back a bit, and while she's talking about her crush, like the Deep has his pants off and you just see his ass, and so it's implied that like he's a sick freak. They're all sick freaks too. Like the invisible guy, like he's always around, like in the bathroom, like he's in the girls' bathroom constantly, like watching these chicks go to the bathroom and shit. And yeah, the Deep is like this sick guy that like makes her do stuff because she's the new girl in the group, and that really was interesting because I can totally see that happening if there was such a group of real heroes. Like, yeah, you're gonna be part of this team, but just like every other Hollywood star, you know, joining the ring of celebrities, you gotta do something for me first. You know what I mean? Like the Harvey Weinstein effect. Like that was a pretty interesting thing to address in the show, and it becomes a huge kind of subplot in the show. Um, the deep he they find out that he was the one that like sexually abused her and shit, and he's sent to Sandusky, Ohio, uh, one of the coolest places on earth. They have Cedar Point, my favorite place to go when I was a kid, and he gets sent there, and like it was just nice seeing a bunch of like uh, geographical humor that only people from Ohio would know. I'm like, yeah. There's a scene where he takes back a Sandusky girl from her, like, I don't know where they were from, but they go back to his apartment, and she's always talking about roller coasters, and I'm like, that's exactly what Sandusky people are like. There's like three things that they're on their mind. It's Lake Erie, roller coasters, and like water parks and farming, I guess. So that was cool. Um, a lot of cool commentary with like branding and shit. Uh, the the Nick Fury character, I guess, maybe was there a commissioner of the Justice League? I don't know. Um, that's Shu's character. She plays like the big boss that owns the company, and she's always like blackmailing people. Everyone's blackmailing people in this whole show. Like, there's not a scene where somebody's not blackmailing somebody, um, which I think is kind of that's happening a lot in Hollywood. Probably like that's how you get shit done, right? Every business inquiry, if something isn't going their way, they're gonna slip a photo of somebody doing something stupid, or there's a video or something that makes them look bad, and then they're like ultimately have to do something. So it's cool that they take these heroes that have these powers, and they're kind of like trained to use those powers against people that they're trying to make business with. There's this doppelganger character that we get introduced to, and his job was to sleep with the senator or something. I don't know if I can know. I think they were trying to get the heroes into the military, and so the senator thought he was sleeping with Wonder Woman, and like we learned that he's not, and it's some like like Mystique-esque character, and like he turns into like a big fat man and takes a picture, and like Elizabeth Shue's like, I have this picture of you like having sex with a guy, and if you don't want that to happen, you gotta put my heroes on the ballot. And so that was like, yeah, that's probably what people would do if these heroes are real. They would use their powers for um, things other than saving lives, you know? It's all about blackmail in this show. There's not a single scene or plot line that that doesn't have to deal that has to. Let me restart that. Every plot line in the show, somehow there's a blackmail thing that's going on. Somehow, even like the revenge story kind of. We learn this is kind of the big twist at the end. So Carl Urban's character, he's kind of the Punisher character. We think so. What's cool about this show is that I know it's not new, but the superheroes are kind of the antagonists, and then what you would think the villains would be are the protagonists. Even Carl Urban wears like something a villain would wear, right? And the last episode, he finds out, like, he learns Homelander's weakness, which is the superhero of like, I'm sorry, the Superman of the show. Very evil character. Like, the actor who played him was pretty great, but I just wanted to punch his fucking head the whole time because some of the shit that he did in the show was so like terrible. I need another jewel pod. I need a pod, bro. But so Carl Urban, he finds out that Homelander's weakness is Shu, Elizabeth Shu, and so they do the evil, quote unquote evil villain scheme plan where Carl Urban like takes a bomb or a couple bomb like C4s and like straps it to her chest, and she's like tied up like a damsel in distress, and he wants Homelander to come and save her. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool that they're, even though we know that the boys are the protagonists in this, they're still carrying out that he is playing a villainous type, you know. In Homelander's eyes, he's the villain, so Carl Urban has to make it seem like he is. Like that was kind of interesting to me. Um, but in reality, Carl Urban's character, he had a wife that has been missing for about 8 or whatever years, and we learned that Homelander like raped him or her. Sorry, raped the woman. That's what we think, and then we find out after a bunch of conversing with those characters that that's not the case. We learned that Carl Urban's character, his name's Butcher. We learned that Butcher's wife actually was consensual, gave birth to Homelander's baby, and this whole time has been living a life with Homelander's kid. I don't know if Homelander was in like that life with her, with Carl's wife and the kid. It seems that way because Elizabeth Shue dies, so Homelander knows that his weakness is Shue, and so Carl's plan is that he's going to like blow up that character in order for like him to surrender. So, being the evil jackass that Homelander is, he kills her anyway. Like he's like, well, whatever. Like, you're not really worth it anymore. Like, I'm a fucking god. I'm not gonna risk my life just for this fucking piece of ass. In his words, and either way, like he uses her as a body bag anyway and blows her up. And then we cut to a scene where he's waking up, and we find out that his wife is alive with another character's baby, and it's like this huge cliffhanger thing, and then it ends. And that was neat, I guess. This movie, I'm sorry, I keep saying it's a movie. This TV show is definitely more of a sci-fi show. There's hero like elements to it, but it had kind of the Stranger Things vibe to it, where there's this drug called Compound V, and we learned that these heroes think that they were born with these powers, right? But we learned that Shu's character has been working with like scientists and shit, like people in China have been making bootleg shit, and we find out that this Compound V is what gives you powers. And so essentially these celebrities slash heroes are just junkies. They're over glammed junkies. And like that's again another cool like take on what being a celebrity is like right now. Like people think that they're superheroes. You know, they're just fucking people that like to drink and do drugs and make money. They don't care about you, you know. It's a really interesting way to look at the industry and how things are going. Vought was definitely a allegory or a metaphor for what Disney is now and how everything's about corporate, how it looks, and you know we want our shit and everything, even the fucking military. So like I can definitely see Disney having Disney-owned tanks in the future. Uh, that wouldn't be surprising to me. It's a very even though there aren't actual heroes in the world like superheroes, uh, if there were, I think this is exactly what that type of life would be. People trying to make money off them, you know, making them seem like they're gods when they're not. They're just fucking lab rats. And yeah, the villains, quote unquote, that the heroes see are actually the good guys that, are like, you guys are a fucking joke, and we know that you're just a piece of shit and trying to make money and you're nothing, so we're gonna try and take that back. I kind of really sided with the boys because I'm kind of like that. I'm not killing people like they do, but uh, I'm trying to stay awake and be like, hey, uh, you know, you're a joke, which is kind of contradicting the whole Star Wars thing, seeing that I have to go see those movies, but I'm still like, your products are supposed to be amazing and great and godlike, but there are better things in life, like having a wife and not having her get butt fucked by Mickey Mouse. Yeah. But what else do I want to talk about that movie? Oh yeah, Simon Pegg is like a executive. He he makes a cameo in the show. He's Huey's dad. That's kind of the side character to Carl Urban. He's kind of the main focus. I don't know. I like to think that Carl Urban's more of a main focus, but we see more screen time with Huey, and Simon Pegg's his dad. He's like a overprotective, like homebody dad, which is really funny. I haven't seen him do that character before, and every time I see Simon Pegg in a show or a movie, I'm just like, I fucking love this guy. Like, there's no way that I can't hate Simon Pegg. He does great shit. Like, anything that he does is great. Seth Rogen is even a producer on the show. He makes a cameo. He's trying to do, like, in the show, there's like one of those commercials where they're doing the RoboCop thing, and he's like directing a black noir movie. He's the Batman character in this show, which, by the way, is like a great character because I think, without saying what it is, um, black noir is like the Batman character, and Batman's mysterious and he's never really around and you don't really see him, and like subtly they do that, like uh for most of the show he's not there, but when he shows up, like, it's kind of a big deal because he's Batman, and that's funny. um yeah, really good show. I really liked every character in the show, even like the superheroes. I hated like Homelander, but that's because I didn't want him to win. Like, I think his character's awesome, but it's like in that Darth Vader esque way where it's like, I hate you, but I also think you're cool as fuck. That makes sense. Even what's his face, Gus from Breaking Bad makes an appearance. He's like um, the chairman or whatever of Vought, and supposedly for season 2 he's going to be more of a main character of that show, because now that Shu's dead, like, who else is going to be kind of the leading person behind the scenes? I think maybe Homelander would take over or something. He has this weird like relationship with Shu's character. I thought of her more of like a Martha to his um, Clark or whatever. A lot of very like weird, like mommy son kink shit. There's a whole scene where he like wants to be breastfed by Shu. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll go there. That's fine. Yeah. It even talks about like religion, and there's this whole episode where um all the heroes are like at this expo for like Christianity and shit, and they're all trying to um like capitalize on religion, which is kind of a neat concept. That's kind of a Disney thing to do, I guess. Um yeah, I can talk about the show forever, but I won't, because I want you guys to experience it as much as I did and how much I enjoyed it. Probably the best show I've seen all year. I've watched a couple shows, but they all suck ass. Me and my dad watched Another Life with Katie Sackhoff. That show's a piece of shit. I wouldn't recommend that show at all, unless you just want to sit there and watch a bunch of dumb shit. It would be fun to get like high to and make fun of it with your friends, but um, I'm a sober man, and it's not fun watching sober. So yeah, whatever. The Boys, though, I do recommend. I don't think you don't need to get drunk or anything to watch that show. It's just really fun. Like, uh, there's a ton of shit you can like interpret and get kick out of. Yeah. So I don't know how to rate that show. Uh, like 4 out of 5 stars. I'm excited to see the second season. They're already producing it, so I'll look forward to that. Carl Urban's fantastic in this show. Like he even has this like Aussie type New Zealand accent that's really like over the top. I don't know if that's his real accent, but it's really funny. He's the best character by far in the movie or in the show. So yeah, check it out. Recommend it a lot. Um, yeah, The Boys, Amazon Prime. Let's see here. What kind of time we got? Ooh. Uh, I think we'll just stop here. I guess. There's not much. I don't think I have any questions this week. You guys can totally like DM me or tweet me at thebombdotT on Twitter. Ask me any questions you want about film or opinions about anything. I really want this to be more of an interactive thing where you are a part of the show, even if you're not talking with me. So that'll be fun. Yeah, keep me up to date with your questions because I do want to hear your input, even if it's not a question. Like comment something that you like or dislike and want to help me improve. Because even though we're on episode 8, there's still so much I can improve on. 10's almost here, which is fantastic. I'm planning on having a guest for that episode. So episode 10 is going to be a cool little celebration, a little 10 episode celebration. Have a nice guest on, and we'll go from there. I don't have anything planned for next week. I haven't been to the movies since I saw Spider-Man, I think. No, it was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So, Chapter 2 comes out in 2 weeks, I think. So, if I have a guest on that show, they'll probably have to see It Chapter 2 because I'll want to talk about that as soon as I can. Next week, though, it's whatever. Maybe I'll have them next week. I don't know. We'll see. We'll figure it out. I really want to do something nice for the 10th episode because being on the show for 10 episodes already is so cool. It seems like it's not a huge accomplishment, but for me, it's a huge deal for me because I feel like I'm really committed to the show and this YouTube channel, even though it's a small community. I get a lot of pleasure from doing this, and I'm really excited and proud of what I do, and I just thank you guys again for supporting me. It's really awesome. By next week, though, I'll be totally not sick. I won't cough for 5 minutes of an episode and sound like a gross guy. But maybe on Twitter, if you're following me, I'll let you know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I think the Banana Bunch... No, the Banana Split movie. I keep saying that. That's out already, so maybe I'll do a review on that. And we'll see how that's going. The album is still going strong. Getting some music done. Mixing that shit. Writing it down. Patenting it. I mentioned that the album will be out before Christmas. I don't know if that's true now because I'm in school and I don't just want to put out something that sounds like crap. I want to make it sound really good and really prove a point. I guess just like I want to put something out good. So, I'll keep you updated. Definitely it'll be out by next year. I don't know when, but I want you to keep getting excited about it, because I'm excited about it and it's going to be great. I have a lot of cool ideas I want to do with it. But yeah, that's that. If you want to support the show, leave a like or whatever, subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family, like, hey, there's this cool guy on the internet that talks about movies for an hour and other things. Check him out. It's the Usher with thebombdotTom. Follow me on Twitter again. That'll be a link. And yeah, have a good rest of the week, guys. Thank you again. See you for episode 9. And remember to always silence that cell phone when you're watching a movie. Take care. Peace, guys.